So this is the block list that I came up with for Konar. Some important things to note are the assumptions that I made when making this list. And this is more to do with the type of player that's likely to use Konar, because let's be real, if you want to do Konar, then you're not going to be going for Efficient Slayer. If you do Efficient Slayer, you do Duradel. That being said, I do assume that you do have some degree of common sense when it comes to efficiency. Like you cannon Dagonoths at the lighthouse when you get the task, and you barrage neck rails in the catacombs when you get the task. Just basic stuff like that, that because it's exponentially better than regular Slayer, and because I even see casual players doing it too when I do my tasks, I just assume that you have this amount of efficiency ingrained in you by default, even if you're not an efficient player at all. So otherwise, you're not cannoning tasks because most players don't cannon a lot of these tasks. And what you want is GP. You want a lot of GP from your tasks. So I wanted to make sure you get the maximum amount of GP from your tasks for a decent amount of effort, because another assumption I make is that because you're not bossing, because you're not just camping Broom Dragons, or you're not doing demonics, stuff like that, then you're going to be a lower level player who has trouble killing these monsters. Doubly so because you're not using a cannon. So let's get into it. The 6 best blocks that I've seen are Drakes. Now this is depending on how much attention you want to pay, because they have a special attack that's like sort of like Forecast, you have to dodge it. Also, there's a poll going on right now that wants to nerf the attack so that if you're immune to anti-fire, then you won't be killed by the attack, which is a really nice poll for AFK-ness. It really depends on how much attention you pay and if the poll passes, because the profit per hour is there. It's a decently profitable task. It just depends on if the poll passes and how much attention you want to pay. But the next universal blocks are going to be Black Demons, Bloodvelds, Fire Giants, Hellhounds, Greater Demons, and if you didn't block Drakes, then block Trolls. I should also mention that I kind of recommend not to block Drakes because they have a high task rate and they have good profit. So if you're willing to pay the attention, it's a great addition to your Slayer list because of all the points that you can also get to skip other bad tasks with from doing Drake tasks. Now you might notice that the tasks I have blocked here are the same, are not the same, but very, very similar to the tasks that I have blocked otherwise on my Efficient Slayer list. This shouldn't really be a surprise because it doesn't matter where you do them, bad tasks are still going to be bad. I mean, like, if you can choose where to do them and you're blocking the most optimal locations, then it's a very good chance you're going to be blocking the bad locations too. Nothing really changed much in that regard. The 2 main changes are that Fire Giants are a high enough weight on Konar to warrant a block. I believe you're supposed to block them on Neve 2 and for Wilderness Slayer, but if you used Duradel, you previously didn't block these. Trolls, for sure you didn't block, their task was just too low, and even then, a lot of people really liked cannoning Ice Trolls on Natus Nandanyatizo, but this isn't an option of Konar, so we just universally block them. Mount Quitamortem Trolls are okay, but the issue is they don't really profit if you cannon them, even with Konar's drop table, because on average, Konar's drop table is something like 600 to 1200 gold, depending on the level. And this is a really big issue for these monsters in particular because their regular drops are bad. You know, I get it. A lot of new players really like Bloodvelds. They really like Fire Giants because they say the XP you get is good and the money you get from like the alchebos of Bloodvelds and Fire Giants are good. It covers your supplies, but honestly, no, they're not good. Even compared to like some of the worst ones on here, like Aberrant Specters, it's not that great. You break even, maybe slightly profit for doing inefficient Slayer. That's just not acceptable. If you're doing inefficient Slayer, if you're doing like these lazy tasks where you just recline and click once in a while, you should be getting at least like 400k, 500k per hour profit. So that's what my list is. It has a lot of these tasks that are I believe are based around Gargoyle to Brutal Black Dragon levels of GP, so something like 700k, 1 mil per hour, 1.5 mil per hour, like that kind of range. And these tasks, you know, I get it, Konar's drop table, it gives you like a higher average GP per kill, but it's just not enough for these worthless tasks like Hellhounds and Demons to surpass like actual good monsters like Gargoyles and Brutal Black Dragons. Yeah, I use good very loosely because, you know, these aren't really efficient monsters to kill. But you know, if you're just saying for profit reclined, they're pretty amazing for you. So anyways, onto this spreadsheet I made. The link is in the description. I have this over here, and you can change these. I changed them to 18 and 20 just as a sort of minimum because I don't want to assume how many tasks someone is going to do, because if you do every task, this turns into something like, I believe it's 20.25 and this turns to 22.5. I'm just guessing here. I'm pretty sure this is what it is because I'm doing the math in my head. I'm pretty sure that's what these are. But this is if you do 1,000 task streaks. So if you don't do 1,000 task streaks, it's going to be far less. So I had these inputted as 18 and 20 by default because that's the default amount of points you get. I just recommend keeping it at this because it gives you a lot of like grace period for like if you get a bad streak of tasks, for example, you'll have extra points to skip. Stuff like that. Although you should have some points already from either trail boosting or wilderness slayer, just to have like points to skip in case you get bad tasks. Otherwise, you're just gonna have to do like, if you get 50 steel dragons as your first task, that's gonna be awful, and you're gonna be forced to do it. So, reiterated, these are the tasks you want to block. Skip everything else, but if you need points, you want to do stuff like this. Calcite layer, because they're kind of weak, so even though there's a lot of them, you can get past them kind of quickly. Adamant dragons, because you don't get assigned that many, so even though they're strong, you can get past them kind of quickly. Blue dragons are the same as Calcite layers, non-threatening. They have a high amount, so it can be kind of long, but still kind of a relatively fast compared to some of these because of how fast you can do them. If you're really desperate for money, you want to do Aberrant Spectres, Jellies, Turoths, and Brine Rats. Really you shouldn't be doing them, but you might need some extra points depending on how much Slayer levels you have, because that changes the amount of tasks you have unlocked, or your like specific goals. Maybe you want to unlock something and you have to block something else to do it. It's just, so I know Slayer's complicated, so like these are all just guidelines. You don't have to follow this exactly, but I highly recommend blocking these, and if you need points, do these. Of course, some of these you don't have to do. For example, if you want to grind for Dragon Warhammer, you're going to unlock Lizardmen, and you're going to get some points from that. If you want to do Kriara, you're going to unlock Aviancies and get some points for that. If you want to do Calcite Queen, you get points from that, because again, this ratio I have assumes you have all of the tasks you want to do. And Hydras and Drakes, because Hydras is the main reason efficient players go for Konar, and Drakes, it depends on how much attention you want to pay, but I think they're really good, so I think you should do them, and I think it's worth paying attention if you're even if you're a more casual player. I shouldn't say they're really good, but in the context of Slayer tasks, they're one of the better tasks for profit. Now, I want to explain what this is. So every task has a weight. I'm just gonna go through this quickly because I've already explained this in my other video. Every task has a weight. That's your chance of getting an assignment. 250 is the total weight, so you have a 9 out of 250 chance of getting Bloodvelds. There's certain unlocks that you can get, like Boss Slayer and Lizardmen. Generally, you don't want to unlock these because unless you know exactly what you're doing, like you're hunting for a Bandos task or hunting for a Dragon Warhammer, typically Iron Man stuff, you're not going to want to unlock them. So if I'll unlock, the total weight is 213. With the blocks I list here, I don't block Drakes. As you can see, I block Black Demons, Bloodvelds, Fire Giants, Hellhounds, Greater Demons, and Trolls. With these blocks on here, you're going to have another reduced weight of 164. Now, here's where things get interesting. Because Konar has tasks in certain areas, I split up the weight by area and then a total weighting of the task that I can calculate after. For example, like every task of Fire Giants is bad, so that's 9 task weight, that's bad. But over here, it's where it gets weird, because Calcite Queen is bad sometimes, but other people might want to do it, so it's either 0 or 4.5, depending on if you want to do it for the purposes of this ratio. I assume you're casual, you don't want to do Calcite Queen, so I did not include it in here, but if you include it, you can play around with the spreadsheet. Unfortunately, I'm not as talented as Skinjimino. I don't know how to make a proper Slayer spreadsheet, so I just inputted all the values manually. Now, if you do follow the default list and don't do any of the yellow tasks other than Zygamites, you're going to have to do some of these. So, decide what you want to do, calculate it based on your ratio. So far I have these ones in here, but you can change them up. and decide if you have to do them or not. And an explanation of what this ratio is, if it isn't already like somewhat clear, you get points for doing tasks, and this calculates how much you need to do to be able to skip all your tasks without going to like negatives, because you can't go into negative points. You always have to have positive points or 0. And the idea is that every 1.5 tasks with the diary you get to skip, which makes sense, right? Because a skip costs 30 points and a diary is 20 points per task. It's more than 20, but I just assume 20 because I don't want to assume streaks. So you want to do a 1.5 ratio of tasks, of not tasks done, but like task weight done to weight skipped. Because sometimes you skip more of a task, like you skip all of water fiends, or like all of Sycomites. But like in general, the amount of tasks you do across all tasks should be 1.5 if you have the diary, or 1.7 without. It's actually lower than that because, again, I mentioned it because you have the Slayer streaks with you, which changes it to like 20 and 22, and that lowers the threshold by quite a bit. So keep that in mind. Just assume whatever you want for this. I'll let you put manual inputs for a reason. You can make a copy and edit it, so you don't have to do that. So do file up here, make a copy, you just press that. I don't believe there's anything more important to say other than, rundown of all these tasks. So why I chose these tasks. If you don't want to listen to that, then just stop watching the video. But of course, if you saw the block list already, you could have just taken that for yourself and left the video already. I'm assuming you're going to want to hear these, so here we go. Hydras, you get alchemicals. Drakes, they're good money. Something like 1 mil per hour. Worms are good money. It's also something like 600k per hour from what I've seen. Abyssal Demons in Kurent are good because you get a whip. Abyssal Demons in the Slayer area, not the Slayer area, the Abyssal area are awful because you get PJ'd by all the other Abyssals there. Like, they take aggro from you, so you do not want to do it there unless you do Sire. Slayer Tower, again, is good because you can just kill them one-on-one and get the whip drops. Black Demons are bad because their drops are bad, and they're okay for Efficient Slayer because sometimes you just want to like make food and AFK and cannon, but I'm assuming you don't do any of that because you're going for money, and Black Demons are a huge money sink if you cannon them. Even if you don't, they're just way too long, too slow, not profitable, keeps you away from bad attacks, block them. Bloodvelds have the same issue, they're okay if you cannon, but if you don't, then they're just way too long. The profit is better than Black Demons, very marginal, but it doesn't change the fact that you get assigned so many, the tasks are so long, and because of their health, it takes you a long time to kill them. It just keeps you away from the good tasks. That's the logic behind it. So on Fire Giants are the exact same. They're not that bad profit, but they keep you away from the good tasks, so you don't want this tasks, especially because they're such high task rates, so you block them. Kraken is good GP per hour, so you do them. Calphite Queen, it's not the greatest GP per hour, but you might want to pet hunt or get the KQ head, so do it if you want. It doesn't really matter. You might need points to do it anyways to kill the small Calphites in the lair, so this one's a maybe. Slayer Cave, canning them is just so good. I don't care if you want profit, canning them is really, really good. You should be doing it. I'm pretty sure you break even anyways if you can because of Konar's drop table. Boss tasks are usually bad because you can kill the bosses on their respective tasks anyways. If you really want to hunt bosses, go to Duradel, don't use Konar. Catacombs, I'll put it as red, but you can actually barrage them. It's really hard to, and I don't think it's worth the effort. If you're doing Casual Slayer, I don't think you're going to be barraging Dagonoths anyways, so I put them as red. You technically could, but you probably shouldn't try it. They're bad. Waterbirth is okay if you want to do Dagonoth Kings. If you don't, then just cannon them at Lighthouse. Again, it's the same as Calphites. You still break even or profit with a cannon because of Konar's drop table. It's just such good XP, you can't really skip it, especially because you need points. Next one is going to be Hellhounds. Tablet is okay because you can do Serb, but even with Serb, there's just so many bad areas here. You can't really justify doing this task. You want to do Cerberus, just do tasks with, I think it's Duradel, I guess. Neve might be higher, I can't remember, but Duradel's tasks is just overall better. Lizardmen, yeah. This one I put as red, but if you're an Iron Man, you can hunt for a Dragon Warhammer, and it's not that bad. I just think in terms of like unlocking tasks, it's not really worth your points, and there's better places you can put those points. But if you're an Ironman or you just want to like grind long term at Shamans for a Dragon Warhammer, just absolutely unlock this task because it's good GP per hour too. Just it's a very long term GP per hour. Greater Demons, same issue as Black Demons. They're kind of a long task, bad drops. To keep you away from the good tasks, don't do them. Necreals, they're good either way. Even in the Slayer Tower, they're very, very good GP per hour compared to other tasks. So you barrage them in Catacombs, do them in Slayer Tower with Arclight and Melee, and they're very good GP per hour still. Smoke Devils are the best tasks in the game. There's no real reason to block them, like ever. So if you do, I think you're an idiot. Unless you're, of course, if you're pet hunting and have the Thermonuclear Devil already, then I can see why you block it, but otherwise, no, don't never block them. Cat Deviant Spectres are awfully strong, never do them, it's not worth the time. Slayer Tower and in the Stronghold Dungeon, it gets kind of iffy, because then it gets okay if you have a Herb Sack. If you don't have a Herb Sack, it's a huge nuisance though, so you shouldn't do them. But if you have a Herb Sack, they become okay to do for points. Aviancies, highly, highly, highly recommend unlocking them if you do Kree, but I'm assuming because this is catered toward lower level casual players, you're not doing Kree, so block. Black Dragons in the Catacombs, you do Brutal Blacks, amazing GP per hour. In Taverley, you do the Baby Blacks for fast points. I put these as red because they're kind of high level and hard to kill, but if you really need the points, then you don't have a choice. You have to kill the adult ones. Bring a chicken with you to the evil chicken lair because that's a possible zone for some reason, which is really annoying. Catacombs is really good for barraging. Smoke Dungeon, you know, their GP per hour is okay, but they're kind of out of the way, so annoying to get to. Gargoyles are amazing whether you do Grotesque Guardians for the pet or Gargoyles just AFK for like a mil GP per hour. It's nice. Jellies are bad, but it could be worse. If you need points, you might as well do them in the Catacombs. Not Slayer Dungeon though, but Catacombs, because you're able to barrage, well, burst or chin them, and you know, you don't make back all of your money, but you make back a decent amount, and it's fast points. Well, not fast points, but relatively fast points compared to some other stuff on here. Adamant Dragons, if you really need the points, you don't get that many, so just kill them. They're decent GP per hour too, just kind of annoying. It's the same issue of Drakes, except more extreme, and people are already iffy on Drakes, so I just put Adamant Dragons as like a maybe, very low maybe. Stronghold of Security, Anku are kind of annoying to kill because the cannoning precisions for them are really awkward compared to Stronghold. That's assuming if you do cannon. Catacombs, you can burst them. Fast task, so not much else to say about that. Do them for points. Dark Beasts, do them for points. Very small task, kind of strong, but not really that big of a deal if you can't cannon them. Broom Dragons, they're actually good GP per hour. Camp them. This feels kind of contradictory because they're kind of hard to kill for low levels, but you get assigned solid of them, it doesn't matter, just do them. Wyverns, again, same as Rune Dragons, AFK task, easy to kill, especially with the safe spot. They take quite a bit, but it's whatever, because it's still good GP per hour. Iron Dragons, you do for the points, same for Bronze Dragons. Mithril Dragons, don't unlock them, they're bad. Fossil Iron Wyverns, you can block them with a reward and Slayer unlocks if you didn't know. Steel Dragons, same issue as Bronze and Iron, just more extreme because they're higher level. Red Dragons, they're unlocked, don't unlock them. Blue Dragons, you can't do forecast, but at the same time, they're not really high enough points. They're not a high enough task to warrant blocking, so you just skip all of them. If you really need points, you can do the baby blue dragons in Taverley, which is, you know, decent because they're fast to kill. True Rats and Brine Rats are same as Aberrant Spectres. They have bad GP per hour. It's like better than Bloodvelds, not by much, so they're like barely worth doing. I just have them here because they're kind of easy to kill because of how low level they are. There's not much else to say about them. They're kind of bad, honestly. But I put them at yellow because you might have to do them for points. Kurasks are very good. They're some of the higher GP per hour Slayer tasks. So if you get them unlocked, get a Leaf Bladed Battle Axe, go kill them. Mutated Zegamites in Xanares are fast to kill for points if you need them. Fossil Island ones are stronger, so they're bad. Water Fiends are always bad. I shouldn't need to explain why. They're just high HP, bad drops, and long tasks. Other than that, I think that's all that needs to be mentioned. Thank you for watching. I hope my guide helped you. If you have any suggestions or changes you want to make in the comments, let me know. And if I think you make a very good point, then I'll mention it in the description and reply with a comment of my own. Thank you for watching.